All right, everyone. Welcome all to episode 28 of the Casey and Tyler Show. Quite the show for you guys today. We got some local Detroit Pistons news. We got some updates on the Mike Leach situation. Obviously, got to recap the Army-Navy game, and then we have NFL Week 14 recap. And we also have a correction and an apology to make. So, quite the show.
Okay, I have no idea what that's about, but let's fucking do this, folks.
All right, let's do it.
What's that?
All right.
You'll
see. You'll see. Don't worry about it. All right, Case. Starting off here with some local news. Detroit Pistons former number 1 overall pick Cade Cunningham is to have season-ending surgery. It looks like it's surgery on his left shin. He's been out since early November. Apparently, he was resting, trying to see if that would be enough to allow him to come back. After consulting with a number of doctors and his team, his agency, they just decided it was probably best just to go ahead with the surgery. Detroit teams just have the worst luck, man.
Yeah, we do.
I feel like this was a year where they were going to start to put some stuff together, and I mean, Cade's kind of the engine that drives that team, so I think that's going to hurt a little bit.
Yeah, it's sad losing Cade. He was number 1 overall pick. I mean, he was a good player on that team. It's sad that he's out for the season now. I mean, they're in last place. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Probably another lottery pick incoming.
Yeah, another lottery pick. They have a really good chance of getting that guy that's 7'5" or 7'3" from France.
Victor Wembanyama or whatever.
Yeah. So they have a really good shot at getting him. Imagine him, Cade, and Ivy all in the
and
same.
Duran.
And Durant all on the floor together. That would be an insane lineup.
Yeah, I mean, one can wish, right? One can hope.
Right. That's all we can hope. That's all we can hope for. See how the season goes and hope for the best in the lottery system. I mean, it's not like you can tank and be like, oh, we're the last place team, so we get the number 1 overall pick. No, it's you get put in the lottery system and hopefully you win the lottery.
Isn't that interesting that the MLB just moved to that as well?
I mean, it's stopping teams from just like, oh, shit, we're done, and then just selling their team or then tanking just so they can get that number 1 overall.
I also think it adds a level of excitement and unpredictability, which I think is needed. Like, it brings excitement to a rather mundane process, and I think it allows teams like for example, the Pirates or the Cavaliers, when they were able to get like multiple first overall picks, and you can really start to rebuild something like that. So yeah, I'm a fan of the lottery, and like you said, it does prevent teams from tanking for one player. I mean, you can still say we're not going to be good, we'll end up somewhere between 1 and 8, but it does stop a team from being like, this is a generational talent like Zion or something like that, and they're like, no, we sell the franchise for him essentially.
Right.
So,
right.
Other big news in Detroit sports today regarding the Detroit Tigers. And no, it's not a free agent acquisition. A new scoreboard or lights were installed today, excuse me. So hopefully they can see better at night.
Hopefully that helps them win games.
Yeah.
Get above 80. Get above 80, hopefully.
Oh, my God, no kidding. Mike Leach hospitalized yesterday. Sounds like he had some sort of episode. I believe it was a heart attack at his home.
It was like a massive heart attack at his home. That's what I read.
Yeah, and so he was then transported via ambulance to the local hospital there, and he's still in critical condition, and that's just really, really sad to see. It kind of took Twitter by storm last night when a lot of the news was breaking because he's
a likable
legend.
Guy.
You know what I mean?
He's a likable guy. Everyone likes Coach Leach and all that. I mean, it's one of those things. I mean, I wish him the best. That's all. I mean, yeah. Wish him the best.
Yeah. I mean, I obviously like. It's very interesting, you know, when you see the impact that someone's had on so many people via social media. I mean, everyone was tweeting at him. And he has quite the coaching tree, actually. The TCU's head coach was with Leach at Texas Tech. Yep. Tennessee's head coach played quarterback under Leach at Oklahoma. Houston's head coach, former West Virginia head coach Dana Holgerson, pretty much says that he wouldn't even have a career if it wasn't for Mike Leach. Cliff Kingsbury played quarterback for Leach at Texas Tech. Lincoln Riley played quarterback for Leach. So just a lot of really prominent names. The former Baylor's current head coach Dave Aranda was a graduate assistant under Leach. West Virginia's current head coach played for Leach. It's just the list goes on and on. He's just impacted. Obviously, had a very, very good impact on college football just in general throughout the years. So hopefully, obviously, like you said, we wish him the best. I really hope he makes it through because we'll be robbed of some of the best all-time interviews ever. And he's a legend when it comes to that kind of stuff, and it's part of what makes him so likable. I've told this story a few times, but there was a show on Amazon Prime that was a lot like Hard Knocks, except for it covered college football teams, but they went to like 4 or 5 different throughout a season and spent 1 week. It was like Florida, Arizona State when Herm Edwards was still there, Penn State was one of them, and then Washington State was one of them when he was there.
Yeah.
And it was right when Gardner Minshew was playing well in the NFL at the time, and so they interviewed him because he had just played for Leach at Washington State, and he told a story where he was like, dude, so the quarterbacks, we always had our meetings after practice. You know, like we just have our quick quarterback meeting where we'd go over the offense, and Leach would run those meetings, right, because he's like the offensive guru.
Yeah.
And he said that they would struggle to get through these meetings before like 1 a.m. because he would just chit chat and go on these tangents about like pirates from like the 1300s, and then he would like see someone that had like a can of chew and be like, "Oh, let me get that." He'd like the whole can of chew in his mouth, and he's like on this tangent for an hour and a half talking about Somalian pirates, and Gardner Minshew was like, "We'd lose our fucking minds." He's a great guy, but when he goes on these tangents, it's impossible.
Dude, I could easily see that. Like, I would love just to spend one day with him. Because he is so knowledgeable. He's a very, very smart guy. And he'll just the stories that he can tell you, just the shit that he knows, and he'll just be like, yeah, this random fucking fact. And you're like, oh my God. Then all of a sudden you're in a 2-hour conversation about that with the guy.
I know. I saw this, and we can move on after this, but I saw this story on Twitter today, and it was very similar to that. I don't know the relationship between this guy and Mike Leach, but I think he was like a grad assistant or a wide receivers coach or something, and he was driving Mike Leach home after practice. It was like a 5-minute drive back to the facilities, and Leach was like, yeah, I don't really want to jog it if you don't mind giving me a ride. Ended up being in the car with Leach for over an hour, and Leach was going off about why apartment complexes are the best place to raise children and how everyone should do that. And the guy was like, I thought we were going to be best friends after that. Have not talked to him since that day. I was like, you spent an hour with this guy discussing like the economics and social economy of apartment complexes and why they're good to raise a family. Just never heard from the guy again. Like, that's Mike Leach in a nutshell.
Oh, man.
So, yeah, I hope obviously,
the best for him.
Yeah, if any news comes out, we'll be sure to update you guys on Thursday. Before we get into the Army-Navy recap, we have a correction and an apology to make. We broke some news last episode regarding the Stanford head coaching vacancy. We announced that Jace...
We
did.
We
did.
You
This is our show. This is our show.
Okay, fine.
It was being heavily reported that Jason Garrett was going to get the gig, and came out today that Troy Taylor will now be the official. Stanford officially introduced Troy Taylor as the replacement for David Shaw this Monday. Troy Taylor, I believe, comes from the FCS at Sacramento State. Yep, Sacramento State. He went 30-8 with a 23-1 record in the tough Big Sky Conference. Yeah, so they're giving this guy from Sacramento State a shot. Kind of makes sense. He's, Sacramento's Northern Cali. I think Stanford's kind of like in Palo Alto, so he has a good idea of the terrain out there. And in the article, it also mentioned that Stanford is loosening their transfer protocols to be able to compete in the Pac-12 because they're obviously a very high academic institution. One of the toughest public schools to get into in the country. So obviously they had to loosen some up because not every athlete's carrying a 3.8.
Right.
So
right.
So apologies for that.
Yeah. Sorry. We, quote unquote, broke the news. But moving on, my favorite game of the year, Army versus Navy.
When your team sucks, so this would make sense why this would be your favorite game of the year. Sorry.
What was CMU's record? Okay. Army wins 20-17 in double overtime. This was the first overtime in the Army-Navy game, which is shocking to me, honestly.
That's crazy.
Are
you sure that's true?
That's what they said on Saturday on the cast. That was the first overtime between these two schools.
I would have never thought that.
Neither would I, just because you would think at some time in their history of playing each other that they would have tied at some point just because of how low scoring these games are. And this was the first time the over hit since 2004. It's been forever since the overhit. The overhit, it took overtime. It went into overtime, tied 10-10. Both teams scored in the first overtime to have the over hit. I was sad. I texted Tyler right away and said, over hit. My day is ruined. But
yeah, it shocks me that, I just can't believe there's not a high school quarterback in America that's like, I want to be a star at Army so we can just finally pass the ball.
I know
it's
that.
It's crazy to think.
But think about it. It's the whole. Don't you have to enlist into the Army? After.
Well, they changed that rule now. So the edge from Army, it is they can give him a waiver, so he doesn't have to go.
But after that, then you have to go back.
Well, you don't have. No, I don't necessarily think that. There's exemptions and stuff now because I think Army recognizes that if they happen to have a guy that's that talented, it's a good PR move to be like, hey, go to the NFL. It looks good on them. Right. I'm sure he would have to do I know a lot of people when they do ROTC or whatever it's called in college, every couple months you go on a basic training type of certification thing. He might have to keep up on those, but I'm not certain. I could be totally wrong here, but I'm almost certain they've changed the protocols around that to make it a lot easier for guys to go to the NFL.
Right.
If they have an opportunity, because it's rare anyway. You know what I mean? They have a guy talented enough.
I agree.
So I think I'm almost positive that I heard it on 97.1. So I'm pretty sure that's. But where were we going? I'm just saying. Anyway, it's still a good game. It's just crazy to me that there's never just in our lifetime been one guy that's I'll sling it. Case Keenum's fuck it, I'll go. Whatever.
I'll go there and I'll play it. I'll play it here there.
Some guy that just has a rich Army tradition in his family that happens to be a 4-star. It's no, right. I've always wanted to be a sergeant.
And I mean, honestly, it could be one of those things that guy can probably sling the ball, and it's just how they run their offense. Think about it. You don't throw the ball, and all of a sudden you throw it every 30 minutes.
It's like the wishbone wing tee offense that a lot of schools, and this is no disrespect, schools in high school you run it because if you're not as gifted athletically, you can get away with a lot because it's assignment football. Yep. You just do your job. It usually works.
And you're talking
So
about
you
a team
see-
like Army. That's what they're trained to do is follow assignments, make sure you're in your spot.
They're supposed to
and
be
all
very
that.
disciplined, you know what I mean?
Yup.
So just a great game. It's sad though. Navy fired their head coach like immediately after the game.
That's what he said.
Yeah, he said he was in the locker room still like upset over the loss, and like the AD walked in and was like, "Yeah, by the way, this isn't working out." And he was like, I guess he told the athletic director like, "Just take a minute and like relax." And the guy was like, "Nope, this has been building up for a while. Thanks for all you've done."
I don't see. I mean, what? How? He was the winningest head coach in Navy history. He was what? 109 and 83 and 15.
He was
years
there
as
for
Navy
like
head
15 years. Yeah.
Beat Army 11 times. You beat your rival 11 out of 15 years. You won 6 Commander-in-Chief trophies. So it means you're the best naval or best
academy
football wise. I mean, he led Army or Navy to 6 bowl wins. I mean,
Yeah.
What
In our lifetime, Navy's given top-ranked teams problems. I remember them going into Ohio State, like, every year it was like, Navy almost won that game. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, yeah, I don't know. It was so funny in the article. They were like, let's not get it confused. No one's expecting Navy to compete for a national title, but they just want them to be, I guess, more competitive. I don't know. That seems crazy. A lot of, like, at these academies, when you get a guy that's been there for 15 years, he's obviously doing things the right way. And so I don't know. That seems a little rash to fire him. I'm sure he'll land on his feet, though. Because that's a great track record at Navy there. So
I mean, shit, he played at Hawaii. He might take over Hawaii and change that program around.
Yeah, I mean, you would think it'd be easy to recruit to that island, you know. But yeah, great game. Crazy that there hasn't been an overtime. That's just insane.
Oh, I'm still shocked.
Yeah,
that
that's hard to
believe.
believe.
There's never been an overtime in that.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Like, what the hell? But anything else
right.
about this game before we move on to the
No.
NFL?
We can do NFL. All right.
Okay.
All right, Casey. Nothing more on the Army-Navy game. Let's move on to the NFL Week 14 recap. Crazy to believe it's already Week 14.
All right.
Sorry.
Just wait. Stop.
No, we're good. Just let it run. NFL 14 recap. Crazy to think. We've already been through 14 weeks of the NFL. Starting with the Thursday night game. I don't think you had a chance. You think you're already in bed by the time this game came on. Las Vegas Raiders at the Los Angeles Rams. Rams get it done. Win an ugly one, 17-16. Baker's first game as a Ram. Quite literally wore a game jersey before a practice jersey. Leads the Rams to a fourth quarter comeback there. Good for Baker, sucks for Lions fans. We don't need the Rams winning games.
No, we don't need them winning games at all.
What'd you say? I think it was 16-3 with like 3 minutes left.
Yeah,
they
so
score, get the ball back.
Yeah, I looked up the highlights of the game because I heard about the Baker comeback, and I'm like, I have to see what happened because like they were comparing it to like I saw a screen grab. It was like of like you know how the week before the Buccaneers with 3 minutes left, Brady made that comeback down 14 or down 13. Same thing happened at this game. There's 3 minutes left. They're down 13. Baker gets the ball. And all of a sudden they win the game. So I was like, I want to see the highlights. They went on a 17-play, 9-minute drive to score to get them down 6. Raiders go 3 and out, and then Rams get the ball back, go on a what'd you say, a 98-yard drive down the field to score a touchdown to win the game.
Yeah, just really impressive stuff from Baker. I mean, obviously, he had no idea what the offense was probably literally telling the receivers, like, run a go route, run a 10-yard post, you know what I mean? Like, especially in the 2-minute offense, that's like McVay being like, dude, just be an athlete right now. Like, they probably had some sets that he was able to work on that they just stuck with and was like, hey, just do these well. But, yeah, I mean, very interesting to see what goes on forward with the Rams, what happens going forward with the Rams, excuse me. Obviously, like here in Detroit locally, there's a big interest in how the Rams do because we have a chance to get another top 5 pick if things shake out the way it's looking like they should. So we'll keep an eye on that. It's funny. I saw a story earlier in the week that like Baker got kicked out of his first like quarterbacks meeting there because he was like asking too many questions. Like, dude, we just stop. We just need to get this done. Like, just go see the equipment guy or something. Like, you're probably not even going to play this week, so quit asking so many questions. Just happens to lead them down like a 98-yard drive.
Move to your right a little bit, like your whole body. There.
So, but yeah, no, great Thursday night game. Despite it being ugly, it was a great finish. And you know, I've always been a Baker guy. Yeah. It was a great finish. And Josh McDaniels probably going to get fired at the end of this year. I think we're going to see a lot of coaches. I think Denver's coach is gone. I think McDaniels is gone. And I think the Chargers coach is gone too.
You think what's his name? Kingsbury's gone?
See how they finish out, but probably. I think there's going to be a lot of. I think we could see like anywhere like 5 to 10 coaches get fired.
I could see that. Easily.
There's a lot of I think like the Bears coach probably saved his job because Fields looked good this year. But if Fields didn't look good and the Bears were this bad, they've just been bad for so long.
Year.
Yeah, I guess that's true. It's his first year.
Like the guys that
the Giants. I said the Giants aren't going to fire anybody because Dable like had a good start. They just, you know.
Oh yeah, no, he saved his job by the start he had. I think the only first-year head coach that his job is pretty much on the line is the Broncos, just because of the hype that was coming into the season with.
I think McDaniel too with the Raiders. I think the Raiders go out and trade for Devontae. They suck. The Raiders suck.
I could see that too. He could be another.
That's not a patient odor. Like that's the thing you got to remember about Davis over there. Like he don't give a fuck. He will just fire. Right? So, yeah, I agree with you about Denver though. I think they had way too much hype coming into the year to perform the way they have, and he's supposed to be an offensive guy. And when your offense sucks, that raises red flags.
Right.
So I think those two are for sure. And then I think the Chargers, too. I think Brandon Staley, they've gotten worse the past 2 years. You know what I mean? And Herbert hasn't developed like I think people want him to. And Sean Payton came out and said that he would he wants the Chargers or Rams job. I don't know why he wants the Rams job. They have no fucking draft picks.
Right. I wouldn't want that at all.
No.
Fuck that.
No.
Fuck that.
Chargers, though, yeah.
I would take that job in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
But moving on, the Minnesota Vikings head to Detroit and play the Lions. Lions get it done and win 34-23. This is 5 out of the last 6 for our Lions. I am drinking the Kool-Aid. I have been drinking blue Kool-Aid every day. Starting yesterday, I drank it yesterday. I drank it today.
Powered
I'm
by
gonna
Riverside
drink
FM.
it tomorrow. I am drinking the Kool-Aid. I'm playing that Michael Scott meme in my head that just says I'm ready to be hurt again, because I know it's gonna come. But you know what? Fuck it. I am going to be drinking the Kool-Aid all year. I think they're gonna win out.
Yeah, I think as Lions fans, you are allowed today this is your unrealistic day. This is overreaction Monday. I think you're allowed to be hype. I don't think you're allowed to speculate. I think that you're allowed to say we have a damn good football team. Maybe a top 3 team in the NFC right now.
Yeah, I went to Super Bowl tickets yesterday.
Okay, relax. But after today, after Monday, when this is uploaded on Tuesday, it's one game at a time. It's back to we have to beat New York. We have to go into New York and deal with a scrappy Jets team. A lot on the line for both these coaches. Robert Saleh interviewed here, ended up going to the Jets. Campbell gets the job. Don't think that they won't be thinking about that going into it. That's just as human nature as it gets. Mike White sounds like he is going to play for the Jets. He's got a rib issue. Quentin Williams is 50-50. That's huge. He's their best defensive player, especially up front.
Okay, fuck that game. I could give a shit about that game. We're talking about this game. We'll talk about that game Thursday. Could give a fuck about the Jets right now.
I'm just saying that look, we just one game at a time.
Okay, no, I'm just saying you're talking about how scared you are of the Jets. Okay, we'll talk about
it
Thursday. Let's talk about how good the Lions looked yesterday. Let's talk about that.
Go ahead.
J-Mo's first NFL catch was a TD. Congrats. He went nuts on the sideline.
Yeah, he was pretty fired up about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the defense looked pretty solid. I mean, it was.
Yeah, bend don't break. They allowed a shit ton of yards, but when it mattered, they didn't allow the points. That was good. Some key stops. Aiden Hutchinson's a beast. Looks like he's playing the part as the number 2 overall pick, for sure.
Yeah, I need one more Lion win, and I get my over 6.5 bet. But I mean, Jared Goff, interception free, knows how to control the ball. I think he might be. It's one of those things to where the Jared Goff situation, he's either going to be winning his job to where he's going to be the Lions quarterback for the next 2 to 3 years, or the Lions are going to draft someone. I don't know which way they're going to go in the draft.
Yeah, I don't think they take a quarterback in the first 2 rounds. I think they use that.
You don't think so?
No. That unless they absolutely fall in love with the guy, but I just don't think this quarterback class is retaining the hype that it had coming in. I think there's a lot of questions about some of the guys. I also think that with the ability to franchise tag the NFL, you can franchise tag Goff a couple times, and then if he starts to suck, you're only on the hook for 1 year. So I think he's proving and showing that with the right weapons, he's good enough to win football games as long as the coaches stay out of the way and don't make mistakes themselves. When he plays mistake-free football, he's very efficient. So yeah, I don't know that I would jump for a quarterback when it feels like there are bigger positions of need on this team right now. But our offensive line is great. I mean, every game you go into, for the most part, you're going to have the best offensive line. So I think that does a lot. Goff's not getting hit a lot back there. So when you have a clean pocket and guys are going to get open, I mean, look, DJ Chark, now that he's like healthy, is scoring all over the fucking place.
He had himself a hell of a game.
Yeah. So you pair those two, or J-Mo and Chark with Amon-Ra St. Brown, I mean, that's a pretty good receiving core.
And Josh Reynolds, because Josh Reynolds has that Jared Goff connection since he was in.
Yeah, they have chemistry. Yep, they got some good chemistry there for sure. This is a good team win. I mean, good team win. I love the balls on Campbell, man. That 4th down fake punt was insane. I mean, clearly Minnesota just was not expecting that, and I mean, it worked. So he's a genius. You know what I mean? I mean, that's just kind of the thing. And then
fans are going at him. What the fuck are you thinking?
Yeah.
I mean, hindsight 2020 in those type of situations. I mean, I'm the type of person to where, depending on where you are in the field, I don't mind doing that. I was a little nervous with how much
we were like on our own 30, dude. Like,
so it was like that was a little ballsy there, but hey, it worked out.
And we were up 7. We were up 7 at the time, so it's not like we would have been trailing. At worst case, it would have been tied after that, which still isn't great. But also, how about the play call by Ben Johnson to put Penei Sewell in motion and then pass him the ball? That iced the game. Iced the game. Dan Campbell said afterwards that if Penei Sewell wanted to lose a little weight, he'd be an all-pro tight end. He's like, he's that talented. He's that athletic. Just cool to see that. I mean, I think the Vikings got punched in the mouth, and I think that they were not expecting it. Lions came ready to play. They got to stay hot. You know, obviously, like you said, we'll talk about the Jets on Thursday, but we got to stay hot.
Yes. I mean, that whole Penei Sewell thing, I think what they can do with him, you know how, like, sometimes, they'll bring out, like, an extra offensive lineman for, like, a running play?
But then one of them becomes eligible.
Yeah. Make Penei Sewell that eligible guy, throw him on the outside, throw someone in his slot. Next thing you know, do a little play action. You think that you're going to run the ball. No, do a little play action. Penei Sewell runs out. You hit him wide open for a TD.
Yeah. Yeah, he just can't drop it. He almost dropped that first down. No one's talking about that. He bobbled the fuck out of that.
Dude, okay, but think about it. It's your first NFL catch, and you play with right tackle.
That's true.
You know what I mean? A ball's coming at you. You're taught to fucking hit guys, not catch balls.
I love that after he got hit kind of late on that play, and there wasn't a flag, and he was ready to beat the shit out of the Vikings player that came up. And the ref was like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa!" He was like,
"You're lucky I don't beat the fuck out of that guy."
Great game by the Lions, man. probably the biggest game of Campbell's career, and they get it done, man. 5 of last 6, like you said, that's huge.
That's huge for him. Moving on, the Baltimore Ravens head to Pittsburgh and play the Steelers. Ravens get it done without Lamar and win 16-17. Hold up that they're still on top of the NFC North.
16-17 or 16-14?
16-14, sorry.
Okay.
16-14. They're still on top of the NFC North, and they get it done without Lamar, so congratulations.
Yeah, and didn't their backup get hurt in this game as well?
Yes, I'm pretty sure he did.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Ty, because I started Huntley, and he got me, like, no points because he was out after the first quarter.
Yeah, then.
I'm trying to see, make sure. Good game. Ravens, I think if they get Lamar back and he stays healthy, then there's a...
Go ahead, sorry.
You're good. I was just saying yeah, he did get hurt. But they must have been, their other guy came in and was 3 for 5. Anthony Brown, 3 for 5 for 16 yards. It looks like they just ran the ball. Yeah, I think the Ravens, if they get healthy at the right time, and they're going to be dangerous in the playoffs. It feels like they're one of those teams that is underperforming.
No, I agree with that 100%. Like, they started out as one of the teams where you're like, holy shit, what is going on with the Ravens right now? Like, they're one of the best teams in the NFL. You thought. Like, Lamar Jackson was pretty much contention to win, pretty much almost going to win the MVP midway through the season. I mean, I think they can, if they're one game out of that AFC North, head into that last game of the year against Cincinnati, and they win, they will be on top of the AFC North if they win that game. So they just have to pretty much match exactly what Cleveland or Cincinnati's doing, or only lose one game out of your next 3. So you're going into that game at Cincinnati down 1 game against them. Win that game, then you'll have that tiebreaker against them because you would have both wins against Cincinnati.
Yeah, and that home field advantage, obviously, in the NFL is huge. So I'm sure that they're keeping that in mind. But it's like every other team right now, at this point in the season, we just saw it with 49ers, and we'll get to them, but like injuries just play such a big part, man. It's like a lot of it's like, I mean, not just luck, because there's a lot that goes into staying healthy throughout the year, but like it does feel like some of it's, I mean, just good and bad luck, you know what I mean? And obviously that's why the teams with depth are usually the ones that are very successful at the end of the year. But it sucks, like, for the Ravens, where it's like you really don't want to drop any of these games down the stretch, but you don't want to play Lamar too early, and then he's out for the playoffs as well.
Yeah, or all of a sudden you end his career because you played him too early.
Yeah, and he's just not the same player because you rushed him back.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Moving on, shocker, this game. Tampa Bay Buccaneers head out to San Francisco and play the 49ers. 49ers kicked the absolute shit out of them, 35-7. Brock Purdy, is that how you say his last name?
Yep.
First NFL start. I mean, mistake-free. Looked decent. 16-21, 185 yards, 2 TDs, no interceptions. Also,
yeah, he looked good. His whole family was there, but what's funny is they bought these tickets well before they knew Purdy was going to be the starter, because they wanted to see Tom Brady play. They didn't even expect their son. They didn't even expect their son to be playing.
They saw him on the schedule. They're like, "Hey, he's going to be on the sideline. We'll go watch him play."
It's near Christmas. We'll go out and visit Brock in San Fran. No problem. And then he happens to start, and not only starts, but just tears up Tom Brady.
Beats him. Tom Brady
I'd be like,
bad.
I would be like talking so much shit to my dad. Like, who'd you come to see? Who'd you come to see?
Well, literally. I mean, one thing I saw was really cool. I saw it on Twitter today. Tom Brady signed Dre Greenlaw's ball.
He picked him off.
He picked him off, and he brought it over to Tom Brady. Was saying, like, he's been watching him since he was a little kid. He admires Tom Brady and all that, and if he could sign the ball for him, and Tom Brady was a classy dude, signed it. Yep, I mean, I've always been a Brady fan. Or I've been a later career Brady fan. Earlier in his
hard
career,
to hate on the GOAT.
I mean, it's one of those things to where I think I started becoming a fan. I became a Brady fan after he got 6. Because at that point I was like, fuck it. You
That's
know what?
ridiculous.
That's fucking insane. That this one man has as many Super Bowl rings as every NFL team. He literally, one guy matches the top NFL teams in Super Bowls, and then he won it in Tampa, and then Tom Brady owns the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Literally,
yeah,
it's Tom Brady's
unreal.
trophy.
Yeah, 49ers, man, they're so good, but they have had the worst luck with injuries. I mean, Debo goes out. He was carted off the field. I saw today that they did get positive news, and that it is like there is a chance that he's back this year, which is good, even before the playoffs. But it's the same thing as the Lamar situation. When you're sitting where the 49ers are, you don't want to rush a guy like that back, and then he's useless for the playoffs when you're probably going to make the playoffs anyway. Even with, Brock Purdy, who, and that we talked about it on Thursday when we previewed this game. I said, I mean, a lot of quarterbacks can be successful in that offense. They just don't ask a lot. I mean, they in a playoff game where they kicked the shit out of Green Bay, Garoppolo threw the ball like 6 times. 6 times. That's it.
I mean, shit. He threw the ball 21 times and they won 35-7.
Yeah.
I mean, it just shows that. I mean, their defense has been good for years.
Yeah.
I mean, their defense is good enough to where their defense will win them games, and just like you said, play mistake-free football. You don't ask a lot out of the guy. Hand the ball off a lot. Have him throw a couple of passes, get that running game going, and then do a couple of play actions to have him throw a couple of dinks here and there to guys over the middle. I mean, guys are gonna play.
And so the like, and we talked about this on Thursday, but like in spring training, there was like a lot of talk about Brock Purdy because they already had Trey Lance, and then they were like, we're going to try to trade Jimmy G, so that's why he wasn't there. And then they had the other backup that just got hurt. But there was like, oh shit, we might have found something with this guy. And I was listening to the Pat McAfee show, and they had on like someone that's familiar with, and they were like, no, dude, like in spring training, like we need to make room for this guy on the roster. Like if he goes to the practice squad and people get hip, like they're gonna sign him.
Yeah, and then we lose him for nothing.
Yeah, and so it's kind of cool because when watching that game, I was like, this kid can he has a moxie about him. So he might not be the most talented, but you could tell he was like a leader out there. He looked very comfortable in the offense. And if you can just do enough right and not, like, you're not asking him to win you a game. You're just asking him not to lose you a game. You know what I mean? And he looks like he might be able to do just that. And this wouldn't be the first time. And granted, I know Nick Foles was a veteran, but it's not unheard of to have a backup that just does the right things in the offense. You know what I mean? And other guys got to step up. But we'll see. Kyle Shanahan's a good coach, and the 49ers are a good team, so he's very insulated there, which I think it's going to benefit. I mean, obviously, it's going to benefit him a lot because it's just kind of like, all right, Brock, just, dink and dunk, and when the shot's open, go ahead and take it. You know what I mean? So
when you feel like you can take the opportunity, take it, but...
And we were both wrong. We thought this was a get-right spot for Brady. We both thought they smelled blood. I was like, I said, Brock Purdy, okay, it's going to be like a 24-21 game, but the Bucs get it done, and they boat raced them.
I didn't think the 49ers had a chance, and I'm watching this game, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
And it was like, it was out of hand early, too. This wasn't like a slow beating. It was like at half, it was like, this game's over.
It was bad. It was over at halftime. I think they had 20-something points at half. It was 21 zip or 28 zip at halftime.
Yeah, it was just it was
horrible.
And the Buccaneers couldn't stop shooting themselves in the foot because at one point they had a chance to make it like a one score game with this Mike Evans touchdown, and it got called back for a penalty, and like you could just totally their drive stalled out after that. It was like, dude, when you have big plays like that, because it was like he was like wide open down the field and Brady hit him. It's like, dude, that's such negative momentum that it was it felt like when they didn't score there, they probably just weren't gonna score. You know what I mean? It was like
this game's over. It's not our
mailed in.
Done.
But aren't they still in first place?
Yeah, but we'll get to that after these next two games.
Okay,
we'll talk about the playoffs. Because we're bringing that fucking division up
That division
particularly,
sucks.
just because of how bad it is. But
Like,
reason,
okay, we'll just wait. We'll
wait to talk.
Yeah,
but
that's
bad.
Dude, there's gonna be like team that's like 3 games under 500 that's gonna get a bye. Like what?
It's happened before. NFC East. It's happened like a couple years ago with them.
That's nuts. Carolina Panthers at the Seattle Seahawks. The Panthers win 30-24. Panthers just unbelievable.
Dude, the Seahawks played themselves out of a playoff game.
Yeah.
A playoff spot in this game.
It looks like water's finding the level quickly with Seattle.
I can see that. I mean, it's
like they look tired.
They didn't look the best. Geno Smith. I mean, I'm rooting for him to get comeback player of the year. I'm really hoping he gets it. But I mean, he had a rough game. He had a rough game there.
I mean, it wasn't the best. Panthers Sam Darnold season. I mean, like what the Sam Darnold just like the ghost of Christmas past. He just kind of hangs around. You know what I mean?
Did you see Terrace Marshall's catch?
I did. That was probably catch of the year. No.
100%. Through 2 defenders' hands, through his own hands, and he caught it with his legs.
Yeah.
Fucking ridiculous. I mean, I'm happy. Geno Smith got me a garbage time touchdown. I needed it.
Yeah, he had 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 21-36 for 264 yards. Like you said, not the best game. And Sam Darnold, just a game manager. 14-24, 120 yards and a tut. I mean, did just enough. I mean, this Panthers team, if I'm the owner, I'm like, great, glad to see you guys fighting, but stop winning games right now.
What the fuck are you guys doing? We don't have a quarterback, and you guys
or a running back.
We don't have anyone, and you guys are gonna make it to where we have a 10th pick.
Yeah, I know. It's like if you're the owner, you're like really proud of the effort, guys, but I'm gonna start cutting people. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna start cutting heads.
Yeah.
Be like, you're injured this week.
Yeah.
You're injured.
You go to the interim coach and you're doing a great job, and although you probably deserve a shot to be the
every fucking play.
Yeah, you're like, hey, listen, this is ridiculous.
Right.
But yeah, kind of an ugly game, but that game had big implications for the Lions, especially as far as the playoff hunt goes.
Yeah, that's literally the only reason why I brought it up was because of the playoff implications, just because with that win, they moved the Giants into that last playoff spot, and they slid out of the playoffs. The Seahawks did.
Correct. And, listening to local radio here today about the playoff picture, it was like, I thought it was well said. It was like, the Lions are the graphic right now. That is a team that you don't want to play. And I think if you compare the Lions to the Seahawks, you'd be much more scared to play the Lions than you would the Seahawks.
The Lions are more hot than the Seahawks. I mean, out of any team that's in that wild card / in that hunt spot, the Lions are the hottest team out of every team.
I agree.
In that
I agree.
Graphic right there.
And they're the team that's getting the healthiest at the end of the year. I mean, they're getting a lot of guys back. Also,
and their defense is clicking at the right time, and that's the thing that you don't.
That's
want.
huge. Yeah, because even when we were losing games earlier in the year, sorry to go back to the Lions guys, but it was because we couldn't stop people from scoring.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say, if the Lions played the Seahawks again next week, rematch, I'm picking the Lions.
Oh, Lions would smoke them.
Okay, that's what I just want to make sure we're on the same page. 100%.
Yeah. But moving on, Miami Dolphins head out to Los Angeles and play the Chargers. Chargers win 23-17. Only reason why I wanted to bring this game up is because I love Austin Eckler. I'm sorry, Danny. I beat you in fantasy because of Austin Eckler is a fucking dog on the fucking field.
Yeah,
I thought I was going to lose myself out of the fucking playoffs, but I get it done like I usually do with
lucky touchdown.
With my disgusting, scrappy-ass team. I am winning games left and right in that league because I know how to fucking win them. I win the big game. What?
You need to just relax.
I win big games.
You need to relax.
I win big games. My team's getting hot at the right time, folks.
All right, I didn't know this was a fantasy football segment.
I'm going to go back to back.
No, you're not. Like we said, Chargers win 23-17. This is an ugly game. Tua looked horrible. 10 of 28.
Did you see the Tyreek Hill touchdown?
Yeah.
That was a fucking...
That was...
Jesus.
That was so fluke. But, dude, when he got in the open field, he was gone.
Oh, my God.
He's so fast. I was like, what? I was like, when he picked it up, I was like, oh, cool. They'll get like 5 yards. The next thing you know, I was like, he's going to score? It was crazy.
The announcers said something that was false information. They're like, well, when the fastest guy in the league. False. I want to see him against Jameson Williams. I think J-Mo's faster.
They're close.
I think J-Mo's faster.
It'll be close. That was a crazy touchdown. Tua just looked bad. Miami's still a good football team, I think. I just think they're getting a little exposed right now. Maybe some things that were working well at the beginning of the year just aren't working as well now. They got to find a way to get Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle the ball more, whether that's jet sweeps, screens, something. I mean, between the two of them, they had 6 catches. So they gotta get those numbers up. Herbert, 39 of 51, 367 and a touchdown. Good game from him. I don't know. I think the Chargers. I think this is a disappointing season for the Chargers. In a year where the Broncos stink.
Oh, 100%.
The Raiders stink.
I thought they were going to win that. Wait,
I thought it was going to be them or the Chiefs. I really was
100%. I thought they were going to beat the Chiefs.
That's false.
I thought they were going to beat the Chiefs.
I thought the Raiders were going to be very, very competitive.
Well, you thought the Raiders were going to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I honestly thought the Chargers were going to win this division. I thought this was going to be a little bit of a down year for the Chiefs because I didn't know how they were going to be without Tyreek Hill. I know it wasn't much. He's not that that offense is just phenomenal. I just thought that the Chargers were going to get to that next step, and Herbert was going to get to that next step and be able to help compete against Mahomes and take that division. But
I also just thought because their defense was pretty young, and I thought the defense was
Bosa get hurt? Hasn't Bosa been hurt?
One
of the Bosa boys got hurt, and they've been out. I get it confused between unless
Joey
it's both
and Nick.
Of them. Yeah,
Joey's
on the Chargers. Nick is on the 49ers.
Correct.
I know one of them got hurt.
He didn't record a single tackle in the game, so I'm going to assume that Joey Bosa is not playing. He would have gotten at least one tackle.
Yeah, he would have gotten one.
So I think you're correct. I think he's the one that's been injured there, pal.
That definitely hurts them there. But still, I thought the Chargers were. I thought their offense was going to be good. Their offense hasn't been. You have Eckler
they've
that's
regressed.
Been helping, but
they've regressed. Oh yeah, here we go. Bosa to come off IL and return this year potentially.
Oh, but
he hasn't played. And I know, Brandon Staley, the head coach of the Chargers, has been getting a lot of flack this year for some in-game management decisions. And whenever you're the subject as to why your team lost a close game, we deal it with Dan Campbell all the time, unfortunately. That should never be like, well, should your coach have used the time out there? What about that 4th down play call? It should never come down to that. It should just be they were better and they won. That's it. So we'll keep an eye on that. Obviously, that's it for the NFL, right? I don't think we have any more games.
No, we have no more games, but we're not done with the NFL. We have the playoff talk.
Yeah. I just meant the recap.
The recap we're done with. Yeah, we have no more games to talk about. Let's just get into the NFL playoff talk or NFL playoff right now. Right now, we're going to go over the AFC. Right now, the Bills are on top. It's either the Bills. Looks like it's the Bills or the Chiefs, in my opinion. They're going to get that number 1 overall.
Where are you
seed.
looking? Where you got a link or something?
I'm just on ESPN. I'm on my ESPN app.
Okay, bet.
Bills and Chiefs are both up at top of the AFC at 10-3. I think it's going to be one of those teams that are going to get that home field advantage. Let me look at their schedules real fast. Honestly, it might be. So
Ravens are up there too, I see.
I just don't see them or Cincy getting up there to that Chiefs or because you're talking about the Chiefs or the Bills are going to lose at least 1 or 2 games. I don't see that happening with their schedules because Chiefs go Texans, Seahawks, Broncos, Raiders.
Okay.
Bills go Dolphins, Bears, Bengals, Patriots.
That's way more difficult.
That's way more difficult. I can see the Chiefs possibly getting that number one overall seed just because they have the easier schedule going down the road. They have the easier 4 games. I can see the Bills losing to Cincy in Cincy.
Yeah.
But that's just the top of it right now. You have in the 7th spot, you have the Chargers. You have the Jets sitting at 7-6, and the Chargers are both at 7-6.
So they're on the fringe.
They're on the fringe. The Chargers just get that the tiebreaker. You have the Patriots sitting at 6-6. Jacksonville sitting on the outside.
They're out.
Sitting at,
they're out.
They're out. I would say them, Raiders, Browns, Pittsburgh.
They're
Colts.
all out. None of those teams are
all
making it. Yeah.
But I would say the Patriots still have a shot, depending on how they do tonight. Depending on how they do,
there's just maybe.
I still think they can get it done sitting at like 6-7.
I think teams need to be scared of the Titans, to be honest.
Even though they just lost to the Jets or Jaguars.
Yeah, I still think that I think they're a well-coached football team.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Raven wins the tiebreaker over Cincinnati based on head-to-head win percentage.
Well, the Ravens beat them earlier in the year. That's why.
Yeah, I'm just reading the thing.
Yeah.
So let's do the NFC. NFC, we got the Eagles at the top, 12-1, followed by the Minnesota Vikings at 10-3. Then the San Francisco Giants at 9-4, and then in 4th place.
What the fuck did you just say?
The San Francisco 49ers at 9-4. What did I say?
You said the San Francisco Giants.
Oh, my bad. I meant the 49ers.
I know what you meant.
But, dude, in 4th place is the Tampa Bay Bucks at 6-7. They're ahead of the 10-3 Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, let's get to that division.
That's crazy.
So that division goes Tampa Bay 6-7, Carolina 5-8, Atlanta 5-8, and New Orleans 4-9.
Yeah.
You're to have a team that is at least one, if not 2 to 3 games under 500. That's gonna have a home playoff game.
The Lions have the same record, but are currently out of the playoffs. But they have a worse record than the 10-3 Cowboys, but are ahead of them in the seeding. That's just insane.
So you're gonna have a 10-3 Dallas team that's gonna head to a
7-10.
Yeah, we'll say if the playoffs started right now, you would have a 10-3 Dallas team heading to a 6-7 Tampa Bay team.
Yeah,
that's insane.
Yeah. Yeah, I will say in the NFC, Philly's legit. I think the Vikings are frauds. I think San Fran's good, especially if they're able to get Devo back. And I would be worried about the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys are very, very good.
Yeah, I mean, this happens to the Cowboys every year. Then they choke in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I also would be coaching. I don't think McCarthy's a good coach. And
also don't forget about your Detroit Lions.
Yeah, they're sitting right on the outside at so the last playoff spot is a 7-5-1. Was at Washington Commanders and New York Giants. Right behind them is a 7-6 Seattle Seahawks and a 6-7 Detroit Lions. Lions have 4 winnable games coming up. I think they can win all 4. I think they can win themselves into the playoffs because the Giants play the Commanders and they play the Eagles again. So there's 2 division games right there. Washington plays the Giants and the Cowboys. So, I mean, I think they're going to look. The Giants or the the Giants and the Commanders, whoever loses that game is going to get kicked out of the playoffs. Just because they're not going to win that other game in their division.
The schedule does the Lions a little bit of a favor there where 2 teams that are right in the mix with you have to play each other. They're going to knock each other out regardless.
Yep.
Lion owns the head-to-head against both those teams.
And Lions go at New York. I think that'll be a tough game because I think that like you said earlier, the whole Robert
I think
Saleh,
both the road games are going to be different, but
just because of how the Panthers are playing right now, I do agree with that.
Yeah.
But then they come back home, play Chicago. I think they'll win that game handily. And then who knows what's going to happen in Lambeau on the 8th.
I think that if you win 3 in a row, and they're going to be so jacked for that game that we'll see. I mean, we'll see what happens. I think that what you have to keep in mind, and I don't want to look ahead too much because it is just we got to win one game at a time. But if Rodgers has a chance to stymie the Lions and keep them out of the playoffs, he's going to give them everything he's got. So keep that in mind.
No, I agree.
It comes down to that game.
No, I agree. Aaron Rodgers, he likes to fuck every team in the division. Like we go back a couple weeks ago to his comments in Chicago where he was like, Chicago.
I own this place.
Yeah, I own this place. Like he loves hurting every team in the AFC North. Fuck Aaron Rodgers.
NFC North.
NFC North. Sorry, NFC North. Fuck Aaron Rodgers. I respect him. I respect the player, but fuck him.
My dad hates him.
I know, dude. I have to go to. I want to go sit down during a Lions Packers game just to hear.
My dad hates him. He's on my dad's hate list.
Good. I have to.
Which is just crazy.
But do you have anything else you want to bring up about the NFL or anything? Any other news that you?
I was just gonna say Thursday we should cover some MLB off-season stuff. Some other stuff happened today, but I just figured we'd just save it for Thursday, at the end of the week, and can cover all of it because there was nothing so big that needed to be talked about today.
Yeah, more so on our end, just because of it's the player. We like the player.
Correct. Yeah.
So I'm gonna burn fucking baseball.
That sucks. But yeah, that's all I got. Great showcase as always. You got anything else?
I got nothing fucking else. But hey,
Powered
guess what?
by
We're powered by Riverside. Fuck Riverside.
Oh, dude, it happened again.
What?
Another player got hurt while we were recording. Kyler Murray.
Love you guys.
Carted off the field with a non-contact injury.
Wait, what?
Kyler Murray carted off the field. Yeah.
Breaking news to end the show?
Yeah. Cardinals QB Kyler Murray suffers a non-contact injury early in the first quarter and is carted off the field. He's probably like, God, I'm about to play so much COD.
Right. Holy shit.
This happens every time we record. Someone gets hurt, unfortunately.
Well, I'm watching it right now.
Looks like an ACL.
Yeah. Sad.
Yeah, prayers up. Kyler.
Oh, shit. He went down.
Yep.
That sucks.
Not good. Yeah, I'm watching it. Yep, not good.
That sucks. Sorry to hear that, Kyler. Hope you the best.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay, well, that does it for the show.
Love you guys.
See ya.